We were in attendance, the brilliant knockout that Caleb Plant scored against Anthony Durrell. Do you think that this puts things in perspective, Eddie, about how good Canelo Alvarez really is because of Caleb's performance?
I mean, firstly, I didn't watch the fight, but I understand it was...
Did you see the knockout, the highlight?
Yes, I saw the knockout, and I thought it was a tremendous left hook, but apparently the fight was not particularly great to that moment. I don't think we can really start looking at Durrell as like a top tier elite 168 guy. Listen, he's a world-class fighter, former world champion, but you know, he won his last fight again in a messy fight, but with a great knockout. But Caleb Plant's a very good fighter. I mean, very, very good fighter. Listen, he gave Canelo a good fight. I mean, he was losing a fight and got stopped, but he's still an outstanding fighter. For me, you know, I mean, I can't believe we didn't get Spence Crawford, but I can't believe we can't get Benavidez Plant.
Yeah.
I mean, Benavidez Plant is a really big fight.
Yes.
You know, Plant's coming off a huge gate, albeit against Canelo Alvarez. Big numbers, all right? He's a great fighter. He has a great backstory. He's got great narrative. And Benavidez is a tremendous fighter. That's the kind of fight that should be made. And that's a brilliant fight for the division. And, you know, if Benavidez wants to fight Canelo Alvarez, that's the kind of fight he's got to be in to make a statement, in my opinion, to make everybody go, wow, Canelo, you must fight Benavidez. Because to fight who's category is just bizarre. Like, Plant, Benavidez, same camp, same network, big fight, should be a given.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't make sense. But let's talk about Mauricio Lara. He just had a brilliant performance, third round stoppage. Do you give Josh Warrington a chance against this guy if they had another fight?
Yeah, of course, because I rate Josh Warrington as one of the best in the division. Mm-hmm. You know, Mauricio Lara is beatable, but he's also very violent, very dangerous, and very exciting. And Warrington has a really tough fight against Luis Alberto Lopez on December 10th. Really tough fight. And if he comes through that, you've got, you know, Lee Wood's already messaged me after the Lara fight, reschedule the fight. You know, he picked him. So he sees something. But this guy is very dangerous, very exciting.
You mentioned Spence Crawford. Did you ever make an attempt at Crawford or helping promote that fight or being a part of it, being that Terence is a free agent and now there's news that he's fighting Everseen in there on the BLK Prime. Was there an attempt from Matchroom, being a top promoter, to make that fight or help make that fight?
There was a couple of discussions, not about that fight, but just about other fights. You know, we were probably one of a dozen people that spoke to him via someone at some point. Nothing, no contracts, nothing too seriously. I mean, I think in the end he ran out of time. And listen, if he's making what everybody's saying he's making to fight Evanesian, good luck to him. I mean, no one's interested in the fight, but someone's prepared to pay for it and pay big for it. So, you know, and listen, there's a lot of people that Evanesian's a good fighter, right? I mean, we know it's a mismatch, but that's no disrespect to Evanesian, just because Crawford's so good. But it'll be entertaining because Evanesian will try.
Yeah, it's a mismatch because, like what you said, Crawford is just that great. But do you think maybe he'd get more credit if he fought like a Boots Ennis or Virgil Ortiz?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but Brett, who's going to fight Boots Ennis? Like, risk reward, yeah? Boots Ennis is not. We all know how good Boots Ennis is. The public do not. So therefore, you know, the money you make to fight Duran and Ennis, I have to be honest,
it's not
ain't worth it.
It ain't worth it.
You know,
Eddie, so many people being blamed for this fight not happening. That's Crawford Spence. Knowing what you know, who do you, I guess, give the most blame to? Knowing the deal that was presented to Terence, why he couldn't accept it, and so on. Who do you blame?
I mean, I think you know, in all these situations, like with Fury, AJ, I think you have to blame everybody because everybody's at fault if it doesn't get made. At the end of the day, and this is a very unpopular opinion, this fight, and I said it before, these guys, it ain't as big as we, who live in the boxing bubble, believe it is. Because
maybe not financially, and maybe
But Barack, that's
both fighters want a lot, you know.
No, but Barack, that's the business, yeah. So both fighters, representatives, whoever, have their opinion of their value in this fight. The reality is that is not reality.
Yeah, but if we put the finances aside just for one tiny second, and we say boxing legacy and overall what it means to boxing, this is the biggest fight in many, many years.
You're living in a world of common sense. You know, I live in the real world of this mess every day.
I know what you mean, bro. Yeah.
And Barrett, it's just like, I'd love to tell you that fighters say, yeah, you know what, I'll take less than I think I'm worth because of legacy. Don't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got two guys with big egos, right, who go, no, I'm worth that. And whoever's told them they're worth that don't know what they're worth.
Yeah, but what about a guaranteed purse, though? Look at
Brett, this is how it works, right?
Shouldn't he hold out for that, a guaranteed purse?
Yeah, but this is how it works.
Okay.
Side A wants X, side B wants X.
Mm-hmm.
If it's there, and if there's money for the promotion, the fight happens.
Yes.
The problem is, it's not there. And no one's willing to take the risk because they know deep down the fight's not as big as the fighters perceive it to be. That's the reality. If the fight was as big as we all think it is, it gets made in a heartbeat because the numbers these guys want will get hit. And the problem is no one's prepared to take a 5 or 10 million loss to roll the dice that the fighters are right on the numbers.
So Eddie, in other words, those that are saying that this fight will do 800, 900,000 are wrong.
But not necessarily.
Pay-per-view sales.
We don't know.
Put your bank on it. No. Right? When you're budgeting a fight, you budget this fight at 500,000 bucks. That's what you do, right? Now, doesn't mean it doesn't do 8, 9, a million. But I ain't putting a guarantee on those numbers because guess what? Neither guy's ever done anywhere close to the 500. It's the biggest fight in boxing. It's the greatest fight in boxing. Is it? Okay, good. Then fighters, you roll the dice. You roll the dice on the numbers.
So I guess you're not mad that they didn't offer him, talking about Crawford, they didn't offer him a guaranteed purse. You're not mad at that?
Because they don't believe it's there, Barack. If it was, they'd offer it. If this fight was guaranteed to do 8, 9, a million, they'd give it to him. Away. It's not guaranteed. How can you put your hand on heart as someone that knows the market and say, definitely 800, definitely? No.
Would Gervonta Ryan a fight that you would bet on and you would take that chance? Maybe a bigger fight. But I don't think they need Spence Crawford money. I don't think their demands are at that level. No, they're not.
Right? But look at Terence Crawford. Probably the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. How many pay-per-view buys has he ever done? Look at his fight with Khan. Top rank hemorrhaged millions and millions and millions of dollars in Crawford against Khan. You know, I'm telling you, Ryan Garcia against Tank Davis is a monster fight. If I'm putting up the money, right, for either of those fights, I'm putting him up for Tank against Ryan Garcia over Spence Crawford. That's where I'm sticking my money to and putting my neck on the line in that fight. Two different fan bases. Guy who's very, very powerful on social media. Another kid who's very, very exciting, controversial. For me, that's the bigger fight. It's a bigger draw.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. As far as Jake, I want to bring up Jake Paul, your favorite co-promoter. He's going to be fighting a tough fight against Anderson Silva. Some people are saying the age factor is going to play a part. Anderson is, in his late 40s. Does Jake prove the doubters wrong in saying that he can't beat Anderson Silva? Does he win on this weekend?
I think he does win. I don't know the other guy. 50.
40s. No, I think he's 48, 47, 48.
Yeah. But look, he is a tremendous mixed martial artist. He's a clever man. He's a good striker as well, in MMA. But Jake is fresh. And I look at clips of Jake and he's not getting hit on the chin, but in terms of his speedball and his shadow boxing, he's starting to look like a more developed fighter. I just think he's too young, too fresh. He doesn't really start saying he's a contender, but you do have to give him respect if he beats Anderson Silva, I believe. I've no idea what's going to happen. I'll definitely have a look. And, he's still going to get criticism because he's not fighting a boxer. But Silva at least has a resume in the fight game. You know, he was a tremendous mixed martial artist with huge achievements in the UFC. He's just not a boxer, and he's 48. But I think Jake would have to definitely get respect if he wins this fight.
I agree with you. So would you sit down at your house and buy that pay-per-view, or would you go to a bar?
Well, for me, I'll be in London for the Katie Taylor fight, so it'll be about 4 or 5 in the morning. So I'll definitely be asleep. But I wouldn't wait up for it. But I'd be intrigued when I woke up to have a look.
Speaking of Katie Taylor, Eddie, is there still hope for the rematch of Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor?
There is actually. I mean, we've started to hear a little bit more positive vibes out of that camp. I mean, I know you guys have spoken as well to her on the show. I just think that over time you start looking at the money, and you know, sometimes people sort of get their back up and go, no, I'm going to go another route. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You know, I want to be undisputed. And then you realise that the other champion in the division who's left is with Matchroom, Erica Cruz Hernandez. And the money you'd make for that fight is, I mean, not even a quarter of what you'd make to fight Katie Taylor. And that fight's there. Katie's got to win this weekend. It's a tough fight, especially when you're coming off the back of a fight like Serrano. But I do actually think we'll see that fight at Croke Park next year. And hopefully we can start negotiating if Katie's successful this weekend.
Can I just give you a possible mindset of Serrano and her team? Think about this. She's been in boxing since she was a kid. Never made any money, but she's been surviving. She's been surviving, and she's been competing at the highest level, winning more titles than anybody, and still loving the sport and giving her all to the sport. She just made $1 million. She don't care about money like probably other people think she does. And she wants legacy. She wants to continue that legacy, continue to break records. She's trying to be undisputed. I think that's a great thing that she's trying to be that. What do you think?
I don't agree with that.
You just said she wants legacy. What, fighting in the biggest fight of all time in front of 80,000 people in a stadium for the undisputed lightweight title is not legacy. I mean,
no, but I'm saying in her mind, she's still going to do that. In her mind, she already did that. It was a great fight, one of the greatest I've ever seen, but the best event I've ever been to. And then she wants to be undisputed in her natural weight class because that's why she was. I don't criticise that. I think that's a good achievement, but you're only going to get one shot to do this fight outside, and it's between this period of May and July next year. Otherwise, it will never happen. Why do you say that?
Because time will pass us by. Because it's going to be outside in the summer, in Ireland, in front of 80,000 people. So, and one shot. So, look, if Amanda can fight in January or February for undisputed, I don't knock that. But this is something that...
Yeah, you don't want that ship to sail. But Eddie, one last thing before we get out of here. Has there been conversations with Canelo Alvarez, him being on the zone again in his next fight? And if so, against who? Is he getting the surgery? Not? You know, there's a lot being said.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to Eddie Reynoso a few times. The key is November 5th. You know, one of the best fights of the year, Bivol Ramirez. It's going to be an amazing fight in Abu Dhabi, great card. And, you know, Canelo will be wanting Ramirez to win, his fellow Mexican, but also, I guess, deep inside, hoping Bivol can win so he can get that rematch. And you know, that's a huge fight for the division, a huge fight for boxing, and I will be able to tell you a lot more following that fight.
Is it safe to say that he'll be back out in May though? May 5th, Cinco de Mayo?
I believe so. Subject to his wrist, but I think so.
All right. Well, thank you as always, Eddie. Talk to you soon. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.